I just want to start off by saying, forgive me if I stutter a bit, this has been a difficult topic for me to talk about. What I have here is a piece of my car. About 8 months ago, I was in a really bad car accident. I was going off Avalon Park, someone was turning left across traffic, made an illegal maneuver, and we collided about 50-55 miles per hour in a collision. It didn't feel good. Right after the collision, hit with an airbag, a bit dazed, the man gets out of his car, and he starts yelling terrible things you should never say to another human being. One of which was, there's a baby in the car. Now, I just been hit with a frickin' vehicle and an airbag. I was a little dazed, I didn't know what he was talking about. So I actually said out loud, there's no baby in my car. And even went as far as to check my back seat to see if a baby had crawled into my car. And then the realization began to dawn on me that maybe the baby was in his car. And as soon as that thought had crossed my mind, he reached in and punched me in the face. That's 3 impacts: a car, an airbag, and a fist. Naturally, I was in dire need of some medical attention. But the scariest part of this whole ordeal was the hospital visit itself, because I knew what the damage was doing financially to my family. My name is Daniel Moggs. This is my associate Zachary Keemont. I've had very up close and personal experiences with for-profit healthcare systems. Not too fond of them. And let's continue.
Now, we have a clear vision as to what the flaws are within the for-profit healthcare system are, and they're mostly just put into place to make you seem like less of a person and more of a statistic to them. And we're going from the thesis to the
What's to come.
What's to come. So what's to come? The lack of availability, potential solutions, and visions of the future. And we're going from the what's to come slide to availability.
So statistics courtesy of, I believe, Steven Reinberg,
Who is a journalist who has written many articles for ABC, and he has been published in The Scientist.
This information found in 2016 shows that 1 in 5 people actually, as we stated before, can't afford healthcare. This picture isn't just 1 in 5 people, but it's a fraction. So it's pretty easy to recognize that kind of statistic when you realize that it's a really wide margin of people. 1 in 5 doesn't seem like a very big proportion. However, 1 in 5 is 20 out of 100 people. And among that 20, you have children, elderly, people that are getting denied the service they so desperately need. And how it connects to you? By show of hands, how many people have found themselves or someone they care for in need of some serious medical attention? There we go, hands go up. Well, I also fall in that category, and I'm sorry, when they don't get the health attention they require, needless to say, bad things happen. And I've been in situations where not being able to afford such things had made them to initially deny treatment. And by doing so, next slide, please.
And we're going from availability to potential solutions. Now, this is brought by Nick Price, who has written 160 articles about nonprofit organizations. And the solution is just don't go for the for-profit healthcare hospitals. You should just go to hospitals that are nonprofit because it helps them out, and donating also helps them out.
So a brief story. My great-grandfather, he is at the ripe age of 100, still putting around somewhere, and he actually sticks to a nonprofit health organization called, I believe, Grace Hospital. And I talked to him about this because he is also directly involved, and he just brought me with him to one of his checkups. And I'm walking around there, and he actually introduced me to the secretary on the board. And that wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't have any questions prepared. So I just had to think of one off the top of my head, and she brought up major differences between nonprofit and for-profit healthcare organizations. And the basic idea is that while for-profit organizations have a steady inflow of money, they don't really have a ceiling on a lot of their funds or resources. So they have a lot more access to technology. However, it's absolutely crippling to pay for that. While nonprofit organizations don't really they have the luxury of being exempt from property taxes and income taxes, but their only real income is from donations. In that, because of that, the service they can provide is limited but cheap. So it is a potential solution, albeit a temporary one, but it's what we got. Going from potential solutions to visions for the future. That's what it was. Visualizing the future. Well, I forgot what I was going to say here. Right. So, I'm sorry, I'm drawing blanks. This is a difficult thing to talk about.
It's fine, take a minute.
As we discussed before, this entire system isn't necessarily, they won't say it's made to turn you into a statistic, but that tends to be the outcome. And while the only real solution we have is like giving care to nonprofit organizations, it's still a temporary one. And unfortunately, that's where it's going to stay. The financial aid that for-profit healthcare has brought onto this economy is a crutch, and it's formed a market around a basic necessity for human beings.
So, in summary, the for-profit healthcare system is their plan, or what they're trying to do is to turn you into more of a statistic than a person, and that is not what you want to become.
The solutions are temporary, but they're solutions.